really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively. I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.
Welcome to episode 38 of the Outer Voices podcast. We are your hosts, Keem and Esmè. And we got something not new, but you'll be seeing a lot more often. Our part-time, possibly full-time, who knows, friend of the show / co-host, Ari, is in the house once again.
Yay! I'm officially a recurring guest at this point, so who knows?
Recurring guest.
I'm climbing these ranks.
Because Ari has good ideas that Esmè and I sometimes don't have the energy to come up with.
Yes.
Oh, I can tell you I frequently don't have the energy to come up with great ideas either.
Yes,
So,
but 3 people working together for great ideas is liable to have a better outcome.
Yeah, but there's no way that 3 people could possibly have the ability to fill in gaps for each other.
What?
That can't happen.
Nah, that's not how that works.
That's
Who's
not
filling gaps?
That's not life. Oh,
Somebody can fill my gap. Heyo!
Heyo!
I did not mean for that to be sexual. But
It's
now
getting
it is.
Yeah, and I
sexual
love
in
it.
here. Guys, we may be a little silly today. Some
But
of
it's
us
cold in
went
here.
out last night and had fun. Others of us are going out tonight and getting ready for the Halloween festivities.
Because it's Halloween weekend, bitches. You know, for
We're
those of
being-
you who identify as bitches, for those of you who have not yet reclaimed that word, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Or who
beaches
have
and
no
non-beaches alike, whoever you are. But yeah, people are in despite the crazy things going on in the country, people are trying to have fun this weekend. I was barred from starting the show in an accent because some people don't appreciate my accent and appreciate me being in character.
It wasn't me, you guys.
It was
Just
me.
letting you know.
It was me.
I
But-
did not deprive you of that entertaining business.
I did. It was me.
The accents
And
might
you
still
should
pop up
all
in the
thank
show
me for
because I'm being sassy today.
Oh, Lord.
Everybody loves Sassy Rakeem.
But this is going to
Is
be
there
sort of
another
a.
friend of Rakeem?
There might
That's
be.
true.
Okay.
This is going to be sort of a thematic show. We're going to have. It's going to revolve a little bit around some of the themes of All Hallows Eve that happen in the country, and this and that. Well, at least in the U.S. because we can't speak for any other countries.
I hope you're all having a great Walpurgisnacht.
Yeah, it's not.
Lord.
Arnie invited the accent. I can do my German now.
I didn't mean to invite the accent. I just like German. Come on, dude.
It's too
Space
late.
Bavarian.
It's too late.
uh,
I won't do that the whole time.
Please don't do that the whole time. I will quit. I will quit forever.
Quit and stop it.
I will refuse to work with you ever again. We will break up and never
Please
speak
don't
again.
stop.
That's not true. We won't do that. But
With that, let's get into our news for today. Who wants to go first?
I don't know.
All right. Way to be decisive, guys.
I'll go first.
All right. Let's go.
I'll go first. With the news of the... So this appears not only to be Halloween weekend, but also an incredibly popular weekend for white supremacists who all seem to want to be throwing rallies in Tennessee this weekend.
That's where the white man was born and raised, Tennessee.
Jesus. But, yeah, there's a white supremacist rally going on today in Shelbyville. There's one this weekend at MTSU, which is the one that I want to talk about today, which is So MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, there is a white supremacist rally that is happening on campus or near campus this weekend, I believe.
Literally as we speak right now.
As we speak, so it is today. I didn't remember
Yeah.
if it was today or if it was tomorrow or what was going on with that. But so this rally, right, is being protected by the mayor of Murfreesboro, by the officials there as free speech, just like all of these fucking rallies are being protected as free speech, and we can't impose upon anybody's free speech rights because blah blah blah. But in the course of protecting this quote unquote free speech, there was a major high school band competition that was scheduled to be happening on the MTSU campus this weekend that was canceled. Something like 30 high school bands from all over the state were told that they were not going to be able to go and compete and that their money was not refundable for this event. The mayor has declared a state of emergency in the town. All of the MTSU campus is shut down, right? No services are open. The dorms are closed. This is all going on because they're afraid. They're rightfully afraid of the kind of escalation. What could happen if this event escalates the way it did in Charlottesville, right? To where
many of the as you talk about the closing, what different things are shutting down. Many of the major businesses in Murfreesboro have also shut down and boarded up this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, but so and this is all in the name of protecting these people's free speech. When you're free, this is not I don't think this is not protected free speech, right? When your exercise of free speech directly leads to a state of emergency, directly leads to people closing their schools and businesses for fear of the consequences of this speech, that is no longer protected free speech. That is terrorism.
Right.
You are throwing an entire community into a state of fear and confusion by showing up in their town, exercising your quote unquote free speech. That is not free speech. That is terrorism, guys.
And here's the thing. This is with the exercise upon the exercise of like free speech. You can't basically impose upon all the other rights of everyone else with free speech, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Let's go like for a brief historical / legal thing. The basic Constitution goes life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm. Basically, you can't deprive people of those three things. When you shut down a school, when a school is shut down, you are depriving people of one of those three things, or multiple of the three. When business is shut down, you're affecting someone's livelihood, which is not constitutionally protected. Like, you cannot deprive someone of their livelihood.
Yeah.
Because you can't deprive people of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
Yep.
And so with the elected officials, like the mayor and stuff, they are, they're put in a very awkward position. Because, like, for their city, for the sake of their city, and Murfreesboro is small. I used to live not too far from Murfreesboro in Hermitage. Mm-hmm. And I used to go to Murfreesboro all the time. But Murfreesboro is not large at all. Mm-hmm. And this, like, with what these white supremacy rallies could really, like, mess up that town. Like, it's not big. Yeah. If violence occurred, there is really nothing the police could do about it.
Yeah.
It's just not. They don't have the means to. They just don't. So for the elected officials like the mayor, it would have been in their best interest to go, we're not allowing this. Like, we're not allowing what this is going to do to our community, this is going to do to our town, how it's going to affect the lives of our citizenry.
Yeah.
But with that being said, if they did do that, the immediate outcry would have been, look at this elected official preventing free speech and being un-American.
No. See, here's the thing, though. There was a lot of communication, like a lot of conversation about this happening among the circles that I'm in on Facebook this week, which is that they don't have to outright say, like, as a government official, right, that could be a really rocky situation to be put in. But they don't have to say, no, we're not going to allow you to have your constitutionally protected, like, gathering of people, right? The right to peaceably assemble, right? We're not gonna prevent you from doing that. But given the group that you are here representing, and given recent events in Charlottesville, we are going to require you, because on the Murfreesboro, like, application for permits to assemble, it requires some level of insurance. Right. Given the escalation that we've seen in these kind of events in the past, it would have totally been reasonable for the city to require them to purchase an overwhelmingly large amount of insurance, right, for this event.
Here's the thing, though. They could have done that, but the reply would have been, you are doing this to us because you are making us get this exorbitant amount. You're price gouging us. Because you don't.
The last major rally, literally they're calling this, they were calling, I guess the one in Shelbyville, they're calling it Unite the Right 2.0. Literally the 1.0 version of this, somebody died and multiple people ended up in the hospital.
I understand. Like, I get it. Like it's logical. Like, it is perfectly logical for them to go, okay, if you're going to do this, here, buy all this insurance, and because we don't want this to happen. But what I'm saying is, with the way these people operate now, if they would have done that, the reply would have been, you're not doing this to protect your citizens, you are doing this to stifle us.
Yeah.
And with the very fact that the current presidential administration is basically behind these people as an elected official, if the narrative is out there that even in the slightest that you did something to not allow this to happen, so many things could come levied against you after that. So it's go beat up some Nazis. It's a fucking precarious position, and it's a position no one should have to be in, because Nazis shouldn't be. We should not be having Nazi rallies. What the fuck? I said this earlier in I'm gonna call it the pre-show, what we didn't record, what we were talking earlier. Yeah. I am literally looking at, like, I got a thing that I got from Comic-Con, a print of Captain America embedding his shield in the fucking Hitler's chest, because we already know what's up.
Yeah, we already know how to treat Nazis.
Right. But the very, and like,
yeah,
fuck, man, like, and the very fact that people can that Nazis can go, hey, how dare you mistreat us for our beliefs? It's fucked up.
They're fucking Nazis.
I mean, yeah, as Jean-Paul Sartre pointed out when, like, the Nazis were first appearing in Germany a long time ago, like, fucking Nazis don't even bother arguing in good faith. Their whole strategy is just to, like, be ridiculous and make absurd, outlandish statements in the attempt to goad other people to, like, being upset by this. And then as soon as that person is upset and, like, showing it, they can take up that position of superiority and be like, oh, yeah, like, clearly I'm right because I'm the one that's still arguing rationally while this person has gotten all these feels involved. Like, and that's... that kind of strategy is, like, core to what the Nazis do. They, like... Or to what, honestly, the like, white supremacist rallies here recently have been doing. Like, their whole deal is they show up, like, all fucking intimidating and shouting this horrible rhetoric in the attempt to goad, like, leftists into attacking them so that they can then turn around and say, oh, these violent leftists are the problem in this country. Look at them attacking us.
Yep. And it's totally working exactly like that.
You know the white man ain't never did nothing wrong. It's just a bunch of niggas, Mexicans, and leftists want to cause trouble.
Yep.
Thanks, Uncle Ruckus.
The organization called Antifa.
Yeah, we had a name for Antifa back in the day during World War II. They were called the Allies.
I mean, there was also actually Antifa
that's
back
being
then.
really generous to the United States government, Keem.
Well, that's being really generous to basically everybody on the Axis.
Well, yeah, I mean,
or on the Allies.
Well, of course, a lot of people don't realize everybody was okay with the Nazis until a certain point. Like,
yeah,
they were fine with what was happening until shit started getting real, and Poland disappeared.
No. They were fine. They were fine with the Nazis until America was fine with the Nazis until somebody brought the fight to America.
Yeah.
And then they're like, fine, I guess we'll do something.
Yeah, and then we weren't even really that worried about Nazis. We were fucking worried about Japan.
Right.
And then we were worried about Nazis once we actually, like, broke into one of those concentration camps and saw what the fuck it was.
They were like, America busted into a concentration camp. Like, dude, you were over here doing this?
Yeah.
This is not okay. We thought you were just baking cookies.
Well, actually, there were like...
Oh, Keem.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Oh, my God. That's not what I meant.
That was the worst thing ever.
That was not what I meant.
Keem.
You're
a bad person and you're going to hell.
For a bit.
That was not what I meant. That was certainly not what I meant.
Fuck.
I didn't even realize what I'd said until you pointed it out.
Keem, that was terrible.
But actually, there were also people, like, reporting about having seen these concentration camps and knowing, like, what they were, but people just kept fucking ignoring it.
Because...
saying, like, oh, this is so outlandish, and these people don't seem trustworthy. Like, how could it possibly be this bad? Like, they just didn't want to accept the possibility, and then, like, it went on an extra couple years because of that.
All right. Yes.
True.
Anyway. Somebody
so
else
shall we move?
News. Yeah, we need to move on.
All right. Yeah. Let's stop talking about fucking World War II stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Come on, Ari.
Current events. We're talking about current events.
I guess I'll go next. I just, like, real quick pulled this up a little bit ago. Evidently, George H.W. Bush, so the first President Bush, has been accused of sexual harassment in his past appearances with certain actresses.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Evidently, he made a joke talking about, do you know who my favorite magician is? And then, like, he grabbed one of the actress's butts and was like, David Copperfield. And
I laugh. That was a dumb pun.
Yeah, it was a really dumb pun. But the problem is that he was fucking disrespecting this woman's goddamn space.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I'm not surprised because it's kind of what men in positions of power do.
I mean, yeah.
But also presidents, it's kind of what they do. It's in general.
Yeah.
Like presidents are lousy with society is lousy with sexual harassment and sexual assault, but presidents are lousy with just stupid with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I bring this up mostly because of like his response, his like PR response to it, as opposed to like how we would expect to see it responded to with our current president. As in, like, it either just doesn't get mentioned or some shit. Or he fucking defends it or, you know, whatever. But anyway, so he actually put forth an apology. And, he actually put forth an apology for it. However, of course, it being a former president, it was like a fucking half apology. Talking about, he frequently makes that joke to try to lighten the mood during appearances.
No, that's not an apology. That's a you admit to thinking that sexual assault is funny.
Yeah, basically. So
no, not basically. Actually,
yeah,
he actually thinks sexual assault is funny.
Yeah, it's a fucking half apology that isn't really an apology.
Half of an apology is not an apology.
Yeah,
I'm gonna point
that more than we could expect. Even that is more than we could probably expect from Trump. Based on everything that's come forward with him.
Not even on Trump. You're not going to expect that from any president, because one basic rule of presidencies is presidents don't apologize for anything.
Even when they totally fucking mess up.
Yes, even when you fuck up, you do not apologize, because if you apologize, you have to acknowledge that you did something as a leader that was wrong, or as a person that was wrong, and that puts a stain on your legacy. As a president, you cannot apologize for anything.
But like, there's already so many stains on his legacy.
Oh yeah, I mean, there are stains everywhere. There are stains everywhere on your legs, and that's the same for every president.
Yeah, man.
I mean, look at Clinton. I mean,
yeah. They're always fucking messing things up. Like, why can't you just apologize for it? That would make it better. It wouldn't actually fix the situation, but it would like make our memory of it slightly less terrible, because we're like, okay, he actually learned from it and he's contrite. Like,
presidents do not apologize. That is just something that they do not do.
I mean, fucking men in power don't typically apologize. Right. Like, that's just people in power, even. I feel like women in power are slightly more inclined to apologize by virtue of, like, they've been socialized to, like, you're a woman, so obviously you're in the wrong a lot of the time, so you had better be apologizing. But
the closest thing a president has ever done to apologizing would probably have been George Washington's address when he left office, and he says, where basically he says, I may have messed up. I'm not sure if I messed up, but if it finds out that I've messed up something, then I didn't know what I was doing. Like, that's the closest thing we ever got to a presidential apology.
I mean, at least he admits he didn't know what he was doing.
Right. No, I mean, Washington was all about, like, I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it was just But, no, presidents don't apologize, and presidents, fucked up as fucked up as this is to say, Trump and his I'm sexually assaulting everybody thing, that's also, like, that's a men in power thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as president, that's also definitely it's something they're gonna do, because with absolute power comes power corrupts, and with absolute power comes and they have a lot of power. I mean, like I said, look at Bill Clinton, and nothing has come out on W, but I'm sure W has done something. I'm sure Obama has done something.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I mean, at the very least, Obama ordered like tons of fucking drone strikes that caused all kinds of collateral damage, as well as like fucking just taking out political dissidents from a distance in this like removed, inhumane way.
LBJ actually used to get legislation passed by whipping out his dick.
Yeah. Lyndon B. Johnson and his famous Johnson.
Right.
He was just fucking swinging it around literally all the fucking time.
He told a senator he was literally going to slap him with his dick if he didn't vote correctly once. Like, that's something that happened.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like, I'm going to dick slap you. He pulled out his dick and said, you see how big it is? I'm going to slap you with it if you don't vote right.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, this is what men in power in this country, at least historically, have thought that they can get away with. Like...
And historically, they have gotten away with it.
Exactly. Like, we didn't end up locking up Lyndon B. Johnson for that abhorrent behavior. Like,
yeah. And we're not going to.
Yeah. Whereas, any, like, just normal person, if they fucking whipped out their genitalia in the middle of, like, a business meeting, they would get...
Yeah.
They would get arrested. They would be on the fucking sexual... on the sex offender registry for the rest of their life.
Right.
Like, this is something that we just let slide with people like that, though.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because when you look at it, like, we talk about, like, masculinity's role in, like, sexual violence and sexual assault and sexual harassment, but it also has a, like, clemency towards that thing has a very, very clear power component.
Yeah.
When you have certain, like, you only get away with that shit when you have certain amounts of power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So them swinging their dick around like that is also metaphorically them swinging their dick around by being like, I'm powerful enough that I can do this shit. I
mean, Trump even said it. Like, when he was on the campaign trail, he's like, and this wasn't even like a sexual assault thing, but he goes, I could go out and shoot someone in the broad daylight right now, and no one would no one would do anything about it.
Yep.
Because I have that power.
Yep.
I have the money. I have the power. No one's going to stop me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I guess from that we're going to move on into my news topic.
Yeah.
Which is slightly lighter, but it's going to segue into the things we're going to talk about in the topic segment. So, the newest way to get high in America. Parents, watch your children this year. Your teenagers are acting funny. Comes home with let's say your teenager wants to go trick-or-treating. Strange, huh? Your teenager wants to go trick-or-treating. Why would a teenager want to go trick-or-treating?
Definitely
they
not
go out
candy.
And they come home with big buckets of chocolate. Just chocolate. And you think, oh, well, my kid just wanted chocolate. But your kid is a filthy drug addict.
Obviously.
Because your child is getting high off of that chocolate. It's called Coco Loco, people. It's a new trend that's actually growing, started in Europe, because, of course, all the best drug trends are started in Europe. That's starting to grow and get some popularity in America. And guys, this is perfectly legal.
You know, those freaky Europeans.
Right. People are snorting chocolate. Well, it's not just regular chocolate, obviously, but it is a mixture that is going around. honestly can be found. It can be found in those chocolate energy bars where it's like, oh, it's just chocolate. It gives you energy. It's got all the stuff that's in Red Bull in it. But it's a mixture of chocolate, guarana, caffeine, whatever. Basically all the stuff that's in Red Bull. And if you snort it, it gets you high legally. It's a real thing. Like I said, the street name for it is Coco Loco. And
no, Keem, I'm looking it up. That's not the street name. There's an actual company based out of Orlando that makes it and sells it as Coco Loco.
A dietary supplement.
Yeah, it's regulated by the FDA as a dietary supplement.
No, what I'm saying is, before that was marketed like that, it was called that elsewhere.
Okay.
Before it came to America.
Gotcha.
Because this was started elsewhere. But yes, you can get high from snorting chocolate. Well, not regular chocolate, of course. But it just amazes me how the hoops we go through to get high.
Well, I mean, kind of the hoops you have to go through if you want to get high, because like we're constantly like stopping people on all of those fronts. I mean, understandably so in some cases, but like there are ways that aren't like insanely harmful.
Right. Like people will probably be less likely to be snorting chocolate if you can just smoke a blunt.
Yeah. Yeah, if they could just smoke a blunt instead.
Yeah, but legalizing that would mean letting all those dangerous young black men back out onto the streets who are currently locked up because they're dangerous and black.
And they were caught with a small amount of pot in their vehicle after, like, getting pulled over.
You gotta keep those criminal Negroes behind bars. Because all niggas want to do is get high, wear sneakers, and have sex with white women.
I mean, that sounds like what most people, period, want to do.
Minus the have sex with just white women part. I imagine
if you asked them, they would be like, it doesn't have to be white women, but I'd do that.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't have to be women at all.
Yeah, I'd prefer it not be women, personally.
See, exactly. But
as I said, I was just talking about, like, average person. Which I like to think of myself as not totally average.
People talk about, like, of course, we all talk about the effects, how ridiculous the quote-unquote war on drugs is, and how ridiculous these laws are. But seeing some of the sillier ramifications of this is the world we live in when you have demonized drug use to such a point where people are going to, I'm going to snort chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the kids. So back in high school, we talked about it on the show, but I went to a super strict, like, Christian boarding school. Mm-hmm. Of course, nothing was allowed, and blah, blah, blah. The kids used to try doing everything they could to get some kind of buzz going, from, of course, the, like, regular standby of, like, huffing glue and doing whippets, to how can we manipulate some fucking mouthwash to get drunk off of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just fucking insane. Like, we had one kid who was so hard up for, like, trying to get drunk that he went to the local gas station and got some fucking gasoline and mixed it with orange juice and drank it.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Shit. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember I had a friend who, like, in hindsight, he told some lies. he liked to, self-aggrandize and pretend like he was a bigger deal than he was, which a lot of kids do, honestly. I mean, this was like middle school era, so it was the right time for it. But he had at one point claimed that he had accidentally gotten a bit of his like roll-on gel deodorant on his nose, and then he claimed that got him high. So for like the next couple months, I would occasionally, like, before going to bed, just like put some of that deodorant on my nose just to see if it would do anything. And of course it didn't. But
Dude, we had of course, and this one came up a lot, but oregano can actually cause a little, when smoked, of course, can cause a little, like, euphoria. And that was learned at one point. Also, it can fuck you up pretty bad. But yeah, no, we had kids try to smoke an oregano. I actually, on this same subject, heard something very recently on a podcast that ended up being true, but a trend of teenagers drinking hand sanitizer.
Ugh.
man, is that even the right kind of alcohol for
it's
drinking?
not.
I didn't think so.
It's not, but basically all alcohol can work the same. Just one kills you a lot more.
Yeah, like rubbing alcohol, you're not going to get drunk anywhere near as quickly as you're going to feel like shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, it's insanity. So the point is, parents, your children are drug addicts, and you should be ashamed.
Yep. Everyone should be ashamed for the natural curiosity of altered mental states.
Right, and you shouldn't take your kids trick or treating because they're just going to get high off the chocolate. Okay.
Yes, obviously.
Yep. If they want to get high off of chocolate, what they should do is consult with their local dealer to get some like shrooms or LSD mixed into that chocolate and actually do it the way God intended.
We at the Outer Voices podcast do not support the statements made by Ari.
Yes.
I mean, that was obviously sarcastic as well. Like, don't
if you're going to experiment
get your
with drugs, wait until the legal age of majority when your brain has finished developing so you don't accidentally fuck yourself up for the future. All of the, young children who are listening to this show.
Which, by the
obviously.
way, technically is 25, right?
25-ish, right?
Yeah.
Like your brain continues to develop well into your 20s. So don't go experimenting with psychoactive drugs before your brain has reached a stable point so that you don't accidentally fuck up your brain. Guys.
Yeah, and then here I am, 24, drinking.
Day drinking on a Saturday while we record a podcast. Excellent.
Yep. I'm not
also,
practicing
parents, if you're
what I
worried
preach,
about their children
but,
doing drugs, just buy it for them, and you do it with them. It's good to have a parental figure there, just to know they're doing it right.
I mean, but actually, I could see that helping at least a bit. Like, if it's not something they feel the need to, like, hide away from you, then they can actually come to you when they're having those kinds of problems with it. Like
that was a joke, but as honestly, parents, especially when it comes to alcohol, like alcohol and marijuana, it can be like helpful for with your teenager or college age students first like interactions with alcohol or marijuana. Be there with them,
I mean, yeah, and not even necessarily that you have to, like, get it for them and, like, arrange for them to do them. Just, like, be open with them. Like, communicate honestly about, like, what it all is and, like, what you think of them doing it. And, like, just actually talk to your kids about it in ways other than just drugs are bad, avoid them, and I don't want you ever doing drugs, I will disown you forever.
Right.
Like,
Don't act new
talk
special
to your
that
kids
shit.
about it in ways that encourages them to talk to you about it. Because
Right.
whether you approve or like whether or not you vocally disapprove of them doing a thing has basically zero effect on whether they do the thing, but it does affect whether or not they will turn to you if they get in trouble with the thing.
yeah.
Right? It's the same with sex, right? It doesn't matter whether or not you approve of your 16-year-old child having sex. If you are extremely vocal and extremely hostile about it, right? Like to the point where if you get pregnant, I will kick you out of my house and disown you and never speak to you again, right? You have now removed yourself as a support for them if something happens that they need help dealing with, right? Because they will
Honestly,
not come to you.
I think it's the same with just about anything.
Yes.
When you're a parent, talk to your damn kids.
Talk to your damn kids. Let them know that no matter what happens to them or what they do, you are still there to love them and to help support them and to help them like deal with what happens, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, they are going about this without the safety net of having a parent there, right? Just because you disapprove and they can't talk to you about it does not mean they're not going to do it. It just means that they're going to do it less safely, whatever.
Yeah, and sneakily, and if they find themselves coming home feeling like they're gonna die of alcohol poisoning, they're just gonna like lay down and wait for it to go away instead of like alerting you like I am really having a rough time right now, and like shit could go really south in such a situation.
Right. That actually, side note here, and this might get cut out. I remember one of my most memorable drunk nights is I went out and got drunk, and my mom was at my house, and I got just like wasted as college students often do. And I came home, and my mom was in bed, and I went to my mama's room where she was staying at the time, drunk, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I'm drunk." She goes, "I know you're drunk. I knew you were gonna be drunk," and I was just like, "Yeah, I love you, but I feel dizzy." And she goes, "Yeah, you're drunk. Yeah, you're pretty drunk. You should probably go throw up." And I just looked at her and goes, "Yes, ma'am." Went in the bathroom, threw up, came back, was like, "Feel better now." She's like, "Okay, now go to sleep."
All right, yeah, that's an awesome parenting moment.
I'm so sad I don't get to meet your mom.
She was awesome. Yeah.
Your mom was awesome.
Yeah, sounds like it based on that story. Like, yeah, that was a good parenting moment. Definitely.
Well done.
Like, yeah, really well done. Just being casual, accepting, and, like, giving good advice.
Yeah.
I mean, not that vomiting is frequently good advice, but when it comes to feeling especially bad after drinking a lot of alcohol or really consuming most any substance that you know can have deleterious effects on you, like, yeah, go ahead and throw up.
Okay.
That was fun. Like, can we get into the topic segment?
Yes. Topic segment.
All right, everyone. We shall move into topic segment.
Moving to Tala.
Yes.
After a brief musical interlude from Flying Machine Collective.
Yes, we're doing Flying Machine Collective again. Thank you again to the Flying Machine Collective for the great interview last week and for letting us use all of your music all of the time, because Keem and I are slackers who forget to message people about whether or not we can use their music.
Keem and Esmè are super busy and often forget things.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Let's go for the topic segment. See you guys in a minute.
It's the Flying Machine. We back. destination, projecting a manifestation, changing mass as it shapeshifts, aimlessly like a spaceship, struggling to persevere. Words blur to poetry, poems blur into years. Look in the mirror, what does it become? Shadow with a dream, shallow as a stream, hologram blown to smithereens. Plot my ass on the debris, left it such a heinous scene, and wipe the dust above those jeans and aim for change, maintain belief of what it came to be. But y'all didn't expect, that's why the will's been tested. Been invested the whole inside of the chest and felt the world infected. Swerved against it, worked to earn respect. Turn those words to messages, turn directions. Head upwards, motherfucker, can't stop, weak now. Ball off the rebound, perseverance. Work the experience that we found. Practice the chi sound, try not to freak out. Keep moving forward, blaze these trails just like we seen the sign.
I've been on a climb, taking step after step after step after step. Every day I climb, I'm way too high now, I can't come back down. And I go, reap the seeds I sow. And every day I climb, I'm way too high now, I can't come back down.
Why I could quit. A million haters talking since I was a kid. I look them right in their face and send my phaser to laser and leave them disintegrated with the rhymes that I spit. I swear my rhymes are quick. Got weapons for adventure. Can't repair my heart. Sometimes I wish I never met the endless. Waxing and waning. Every track that I'm making, I can't go back to the same thing. No more scrapping and saving. I'm trying to make it. Too many mornings hungry and angry. My honey looking at me funny. Stomach pain hanging around too long. I gotta make new songs, I gotta right these wrongs, fight for my cause. Until then, I'm just another walk in the street. Ain't nobody trying to help, ain't no office for me. I'm saying, officer, please put your guns down. I'm tired of watching love drown. Too many youngins in the city, they don't even know what love is. Fucked up kids buzzed, ripping bud sticks, yelling fuck this at the top of their lungs, trying to run from shit. And they don't know where they going or why they running fast. Just hoping that someone who knows them tries to understand. Cause in this game they ain't throwing to no one underhand. So get the grip on your bat, hit choke up. And if they try to strike you out, you make your hit, don't you ever slow up.
Stay up on your climb, taking step after step after step after step. You've been on a climb, you're way too high now, you can't come back down. And you go, reap the seeds you sow. And every day you climb, you're way too high now, you can't come back down.
Every day it gets a little bit easier. Every day you get a little bit stronger. Every day you get another chance to get it right. Every day you get a little bit farther. Every day you get a little bit easier. Every day you get a little bit wiser. Every day you get another chance to get it right. Every day you climb. We take it step after step after step after step. We're on a climb. We're too high now, we can't go back down. There we go. With the speed we soar, and every day we climb. We're too high now, we can't go back down. We're on a climb. We're taking
Welcome back to a spooky topic segment.
Fuck was that, Keem? Jesus Christ.
No, it's great. Come on.
where we'll talk about, I can't do it. I
You're
can't
laughing
do it.
too hard. You're welcome.
Oh, guys, welcome back to our topic segment. We're going to be discussing some issues revolving around the holiday of Halloween and keeping things thematic. We discussed the topic. We didn't decide which one we're going to start with.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
What are you really talking about, Keem?
Let's go with the cultural appropriation one first.
Okay.
So culturally appropriative costumes.
Ooh, I've got some other cultural appropriation for the holiday too. So we could go on about this for a while.
Excellent.
So let's start easy. Start off easy, guys.
Yeah.
Don't wear things that appropriate other people's culture.
Yep.
What that means is, do not go as sexy quote unquote Indian. Do not go. Oh, my favorite one was the thug costume.
Yeah. Right?
Don't fucking do that.
Yeah. And by thug, they mean Negro.
Yeah.
Complete with sagging pants and chain and backwards hat. And somehow backwards hat is still a thing because the costume companies still think black people operate off of 1992 rules.
Yeah, man.
I mean, sagging pants is still a thing and chain is still a thing, so why shouldn't backwards hat still be a thing? Except it's absolutely not.
Yeah.
Also, chains are kind of a thing.
Nah. Chains are a thing.
People don't. I don't see a lot of people wear chains anymore.
I work in a high school with lots and lots of black students, and lots of them wear chain.
Well, see,
it's still a thing.
You may have the experience there. But
I mean, it's not a thing that everybody does, but I still see it way more than you would expect to, given how long it's been a thing.
Right.
It's not an insignificant portion of the students do it. So.
From my observance, chains stopped weren't as much of a thing, started becoming not much of a thing when people started getting basically run for their chains more often. Like when people were just robbing you for your shit, you just
Yeah.
But yeah, the thug costume. Trying to think of another one. Okay, and why is this costume the Oriental? It's always called Oriental costume, Oriental beauty.
Yeah.
Despite the how fucked up Oriental is as a
right, like that's not even a term we use, like people use anymore. Like that term has been gone for a while because it's offensive.
Yeah.
But costume companies still putting out the appropriative Asian costume as the Oriental costume.
Mm-hmm. I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Every time I hear the word Oriental, though, it makes me think of there used to be a hamburger helper called Oriental Rice. It was just rice and hamburger with soy sauce. I don't know.
Did you hear that Top Ramen is renaming their Oriental flavor ramen noodles?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're renaming it soy sauce flavor or something.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it if Hamburger Helper brought that back, but with a not offensive name.
Oh, no, they do have it. It's still out there.
What? I have never seen it in years.
They just call it beef fried rice.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I think I just broke Ari. He's like, it still exists. Oh yeah, it's still out there. I'm trying to think of like
But
other
like as a hamburger helper dinner kit, or like are we just talking in general? It like people eat beef fried rice.
no, as a dinner kit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then yeah, you broke Ari.
Don't other costumes. The Hindu costume, which is that no.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's so weird to me. It's always weird to me how and you can go back speaking on the Oriental and thug and all this stuff. It seems like costume companies are about 40 years back in their titles.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, guys, like this is not okay. Though they have tried they tried to I've noticed this, they tried to change the sexy Indian or Indian princess is always the the one they use now.
Yeah.
They changed the Native American princess to try to be a little more PC.
Right.
But it's still
sure.
terrible.
Yeah, not to mention like native like society is not structured that way. There aren't any princesses.
But yeah, it's costume companies are insane, but they do that because they know people are going to buy it. More specifically, in most cases, white people are going to buy it.
Yep, white people totally buy that shit.
Because the entire spirit of Halloween now is this is the night we get to live vicariously through personas. Mm-hmm. Like we get to go out and be people or things that we can't normally be, and it's okay. So, and like you don't to live vicariously through us. You don't get to that. Mm-hmm. Like you don't get to dress up as a group of people and claim that for one night just because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, of course, it's not easy. It's like it's not that easy. Yeah. Like you can't benefit from that. And white people, please don't do blackface.
Yeah.
My God.
Goddamn.
I don't know y'all motherfuckers that's okay. But that is not now or then okay. Yeah. The only time that you want to put blackface, you gotta go as motherfucking Mickey Mouse. Yeah, it bet like it. I'm seriously, you can go like that's it. You can go as like Mickey Mouse, and I mean that's saying something about Mickey too, because if you don't know anything about Mickey's history, Mickey is basically a minstrel performer. So actually, I take it back. Don't be fucking Mickey Mouse.
Don't be Mickey Mouse.
Ha-ha! No.
Yeah, that's what he was based on.
Jesus Christ.
Blackface minstrel shows, like, jeez. Our culture is built on such terrible things.
What? It's almost like it's inherently woven into the fabric of American society. No wonder it's so fucking hard to change.
Yep. And that's why Disney characters wear gloves.
Yep, that's
if you want to know.
They all wear gloves because they're based on the minstrel shows.
You know.
Actually, it's more like the more you Sambo.
The more you what?
Keem, you're terrible.
Yes, I am. I'm feeling some type of way.
Yes, you are.
So with Esmè, before I move on to my point, a point in cultural explanation, which would move on to our probably next topic too. You said you had some points about it.
Yeah. So one of the trends in recent years, with regards to Halloween has been, so with regards to costumes in specific, has been the sugar skull, like makeup, right? Which there's a oh, shit. Now I feel bad because I can't remember the Mexican name for it.
Dia
right?
de
Like,
los Muertos.
No, I know Dia de los Muertos is the holiday. I mean, there's like for the skull paint, there's actually a name for that, and I don't remember what it is.
Darn.
Escuela Azúcar.
That's true. That's the sugar skulls, but the makeup itself, like painting your face like that, has a name also, and I don't remember what it is.
I'm pretty sure that was Sugar School.
Yeah, Escuela is school.
Yeah, it is. I fucked up because
shame on you. Anyway, but so one of the things that I've been reading about this year is that the Latinx communities have finally said, all right, guys, seriously, fucking stop it already. And there's been a push for more dialogue about it. I don't want to say dialogue. There's been a push for more education about it, and like Latinx communities standing up and saying, guys, fucking stop it, in public, online, this year than I've seen in previous years, which is that there has been a rash as Dia de los Muertos becomes more of a thing that is like part of American stuff. Like, surprise, surprise, white people have decided that they like Dia de los Muertos. They like the idea of the holiday. They like having an opportunity to connect to quote unquote their ancestors in a way, instead of just relying on this like super like this incredibly superficial, like commercial version of Halloween that we celebrate in America, right? And so there has been a rash of like Dia de los Muertos celebrations right around Halloween that not only are not organized by Latinx people, but that like don't even acknowledge, like there's no recognition of Latinx people. There's no involvement of Latinx people. The people who organize and who attend these parties are almost exclusively white people, which is absolutely appropriative of that holiday, right?
Yeah.
This is a serious holiday, a very prominent Mexican holiday, specifically Mexican, right? Holiday, and to like turn it into an opportunity to paint your face up and get drunk, and to appropriate the trappings of the holiday without understanding the cultural significance of the holiday is a super white person thing to do, and also really fucked up. Wait, that was redundant. Never mind. But
sort of like reminds me a lot of Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except, I don't know, maybe worse, right? Because this is like an incredibly like powerful holiday in Mexico, where they have all sorts of rituals that are designed to honor their ancestors and to like communicate and to this is an extremely personal holiday for a lot of people, right? Whereas Cinco de Mayo is like not a huge deal. But Dia de los Muertos is kind of a huge deal.
Yeah, it like defines some people's relationship with death, I'd imagine.
No, it defines an entire culture's relationship with death.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's a big fucking deal, and we can't just take that from them. That's not cool.
Except we do.
Yeah.
But I read a really cool article that was basically calling on white people to not only to like stop appropriating Dia de los Muertos, but like it picks apart why white people want to appropriate this holiday, which is that we feel in American society, we feel extremely disconnected with death, right? Death has been removed from our daily lives, and we sanitize it and then bring it back as in sensations, right? Like horror movies or graphic violence in media, right? But it's not a part of most people's everyday lives. And we feel really disconnected from this extremely human experience of death. And so what the person who wrote this article said was, white people, stop appropriating this Mexican holiday and instead take Halloween back to its original roots, which was as a Celtic celebration that actually shares a lot of the same meaning and a lot of the same significance as Dia de los Muertos, right? This is Halloween sprung up kind of at the intersection of Celtic paganism and early Christianity. And if you look at how, like, the rituals that are involved in Halloween, like, you could take it all back to the same things, right? Which is like the veil between the worlds. So to quote unquote is thinner. You can communicate with your ancestors. Halloween, as we celebrate it now, falls right before All Saints Day in the Christian calendar, which is a day in the Christian calendar specifically to honor the dead, which was placed there because of its proximity to the Celtic celebration of Samhain, which was like the time when you can communicate with those who have died, right? Like, this is all, it's the same.
Samhain? Sorry.
No. Samhain. Thank you. Thank you, Keem.
Like, this way, anybody looking to Google it, it's spelled like Samhain.
Yeah,
Samhain.
Samhain. It's pronounced Samhain. It's a Celtic celebration of the dead. But these are all things that are these are all traditions and things that come from the same place as Dia de los Muertos, except, you know, like, it's the white people version. It's the white people version, and in true white people fashion, we commodified our own holiday, and now we want to take other people's holidays to replace it, and then commodify that one also, right?
Most certainly.
Thank you, white capitalism. But
see, I might have a little problem with that. I don't want white people to take Halloween back to its roots.
Why not?
Because if that catches on and stuff, how long before that argument of cultural appropriation is flipped back to other people? Like, this is gonna sound weird, but white people tend to do that, like to flip arguments, and let's say, oh, we're taking Halloween back to its traditional roots, so all you other people stop celebrating Halloween.
Oh man, white people need to fuck off.
See, you get what I'm saying, right?
I do get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying, and I understand that. And white people need to fuck off.
That's exactly what it's going to become. Like, as like, while it's a good thing to go, okay, well, if you want this connection, reach for that connection. When it's taken through fruition, it's certainly going to become, okay, this is our connection. You guys need to stop.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
It's to make a weird connection. It's like putting the Christ back in Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep.
Mm-hmm. Which brings up my thing, kinda, with what I was gonna say. Sometimes things aren't appropriation.
Yeah.
Sometimes things.
I was just gonna say. Sometimes things aren't appropriation because you can't appropriate you can't appropriate elements of a culture that has been forced upon you for all of eternity, right? Like, white people can't claim cultural appropriation because all they do is force their own culture on other people.
Well, yeah, I mean, they do, but Halloween is not. American holidays in general are weird. As in, they're not really. They can't really be attributed to any specific people.
No, they can. They can be attributed to specific companies who decided to begin profiting upon that.
But okay, profiting, the commercialization aside, the historical creation of like these holidays, removed from the commercialized part of it, is very much a blend of a bunch of different shit. Like picking and pulling from different stuff and combining it into something else.
Although I will say, out of all of I would totally agree with you, right? But out of all of the things that that immediately came to mind when you made that, like Halloween is probably the purest like Celtic early Christian, right? Like northern British islands in like the 1200s. Right. Most of the traditions can be pretty directly traced back to that. But
see that's also kind of true. But Halloween also Halloween does even so Halloween, especially in America and how it's becoming America, does draw from Dia de los Muertos. Like it does draw from that because those traditions were here when that was developing.
Yeah.
And when it was commercialized, with the commercialization parts of it, when they commercialize these holidays, they're not just pulling from like I said, this one specific background. They're pulling the pieces they like from different cultures and smushing them together to make something else that's marketable.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like I said, American holidays are weird, especially when it comes to appropriation, because they're not really from anywhere. They're weird amalgamations of a bunch of different stuff to sell. So
anyway,
but
no, you're right though.
But what I was saying was sometimes things aren't cultural appropriation. And in our zeal to, be helpful, we have to be worried not to create situations that aren't helpful. For instance, I got two things from the week that pissed me off. The first one, and this gets fuck Cosmo, okay? Cosmo's a shitty magazine.
Cosmo is a garbage magazine written for garbage people that contains garbage advice about literally everything, and it sucks.
But Cosmo, in its need to jump on the bandwagon of cultural appropriation this year, ran an article about telling parents to not let their child wear the Moana costume for Halloween.
I was wondering if this one was going to come up.
Yeah.
Like the idea of Moana as cultural appropriation. Well, a Moana costume specifically, not necessarily the film itself.
And of course the whole thing was, your child shouldn't wear a Moana costume because that will be appropriating the culture of those people and yada yada yada. Here's the thing. You're not going as you're not, that costume is not, I'm going as like the aspects of these people. Mm-hmm. That costume is, I am going as this specific character. Mm-hmm. That child is not trying to live vicariously through the attributes of another ethnicity. Mm-hmm. That child, or even that person, that adult who goes as a character, you're not going as a character to embody another ethnicity or take something from another culture. You're going as you or the child's going as the character because they like that character. They idolize that character. They want to be that character for a day. That has nothing to do with cultural appropriation. That's loving a fictional character.
Yeah.
Yep. It's them saying, I admire this character and I want to look like them for a few hours.
And as long as you don't take that and cross that line into, like blackface, right? Like, don't go put on a bunch of self-tanner to look like Moana, right?
Right.
But sticking with, and don't go improvising on what you think like that character's culture aspects would be, right? Like if you stick to the appearance of the character as she shows up in an actual movie, like style your hair similar, dress, like style your hair the same, dress the same, right? That is fine.
Right.
But don't go like incorporating other elements of that culture or other elements that you think could be attributed to that culture.
Right. Like just be like don't do the you know the line. Just be real. You know the line. People don't cross that line accidentally.
I mean,
like you know the line. Just don't cross that line and go as your favorite character. Like that's it. Like that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Also, children who want to dress up as Moana do not see the ethnicity of that character.
I mean, depending on the age of the child, to an extent they would,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't harbor necessarily these feelings of like, I want to be the same culture as Moana. I want to like borrow from that and like use that to make myself more interesting than my typical white self.
This actually reminds me, one of my favorite things I saw it a few years back was this little white boy, little white kid, was learning in class about Malcolm X. So he decided for Halloween he wanted to be Malcolm X. So his parents went and got him a little suit, some glasses, got a little bow tie and everything, so he could be Malcolm X for Halloween. And that to me was like, that's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
like that kid saw someone as like, I want to be like, I idolize that person that is somebody I want to be for this day. And the parents didn't put him in blackface,
Which they shouldn't.
Yeah.
of course. Like they did what they appropriately did the costume without it being offensive and letting that child be what that child wanted to be that year.
Yeah. Like nobody is saying you can't if there's a specific character who you want to dress up as, historical or fictional or whatever, nobody is saying that you can't take identifiable elements of that person's appearance and wear them as long as it is not their race.
I will say there is one character that it's a it's semi-fictional character that does get a little iffy dressing up as
Yeah.
Pocahontas.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like
Yeah,
there's the fictional Pocahontas and then there's the historical Pocahontas that had
Yeah.
some really rough times going on. And then there's just this like concept of the Native American princess, and like there's a lot of stuff wrapped up in that. I could see that being a little iffy.
Yeah, Pocahontas.
Possibly more
Yeah,
than a
Pocahontas is touchy. You honestly, like out of the fictional characters to dress up as, maybe avoid Pocahontas.
Yeah.
Like you might want to avoid that one just to be safe.
Yeah.
Even on the we mentioned blackface. My second story having to do with people, don't create problems where there aren't any, and don't tell people what they should be offended about. I think it was the young lady who plays Betty on Riverdale. I think.
Okay.
She said her Halloween costume, she said she was going as the color of her soul. And she just put on black body paint.
Like deep black?
Yeah, deep black.
Like black.
Like jet black.
Like the color black.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like black as in the absence of color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not like black as in the color of a black person's skin. Black as in
Right.
the color black.
Yeah.
She she was immediately attacked on Twitter, saying that she was wearing blackface, saying that she was being offensive, and all this stuff.
In a very
And here's
literal sense, like she did have black on her face.
And here's the even crazier thing. Most of the accusations, I won't say all, but most of the accusations that this is offensive, this is blackface, blah blah blah, came from white people.
Yeah.
The black people that commented were just like, guys, there's nothing wrong here, because this has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with black people.
Yeah.
And so this came up in one of the, and I think it was the Black Atheist group for me this week, and it's reached other news outlets. And I was just like this is too far. Like, guys, like, you are creating a problem here. You are deciding that black people should be offended by this, which has nothing to do with us. This has nothing to do with race. But you are so on edge, and you are so, one, on edge, and two, wanting to prove that you are woke as fuck. If you can't see my, you can hear my air quotes on that.
Yeah.
That you are creating an issue so you can appear to be sensitive.
Yeah. Performative allyship.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, guys, we have enough problems. Like, speak, especially in this instance, black people. Like, black people, we have enough problems. Don't go create more problems for us, okay? We got enough stuff to fight about. Don't give us more. Like, don't create shit for us to fight about. Don't tell us like we need to be offended by something. That's bullshit.
Yeah. Let racial and ethnic minorities, and really just any minorities, take the reins on like deciding what is offensive to them.
Right.
Don't just.
And that's what
say they should be offended.
That's what anyone, like, even like on things like, you don't have to rally against quote unquote sexy Halloween costumes and say, oh, you're wearing this, that's not good for women. If someone wants to be, if a woman wants to wear a sexy Halloween costume, fuck it.
Yeah. If a woman wants to show off her body, then like let her show off her body.
Yep.
If a man wants to show off his body, let them show off their body.
Right.
If a gender non-specified person wants to show off their body, let them show off their body.
Right.
Bodies are great. Show off your body.
You don't.
Yeah, bodies are beautiful.
It's up to you.
Like, you don't get to tell people what they should do and what, like, in this case, what they should do and what they should get offended by.
Yes.
Like, stop. Especially, like I said, especially on Halloween. Halloween for a lot of people is the one day of year they don't get to be themselves. They're not, and this is why I love Halloween. Halloween's my favorite holiday. But I love Halloween because it's the one day of year or one weekend a year at this point in our lives, where you don't have to have the shackles you have on all year on you.
Yeah.
You can be who you want, and no one will judge you. No one will hold you back.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of discussion on why Halloween has grown more popular in the past couple of years, especially with adults. And it's for that reason. Like, adults who are tired of drudgery, who are tired of the things that are like constantly bringing them down, get one day a year where they could just kind of let go and have fun.
Yep.
And don't take that away from people, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't suck all the fun out.
Also, adults, if teenagers come to your house trick-or-treating, give them some motherfucking candy.
Yeah, like...
Teenagers have so little fun.
Right. And
Like,
I've seen so many adults say, if a teenager comes to my door, I'm not giving them candy because they're too old to be trick-or-treating. No, give them some fucking candy.
Yeah, don't punish them for just wanting to go out, dress up, and have fun. Like, come on.
Like, would you rather them be doing coke with hookers? Like,
Would you rather them sequester themselves in somebody's garage drinking? Like...
Here's the thing, is like the way that people talk about teenagers, they don't realize that like a lot of teenagers have an enormous amount of actual life stress put on them. Mm-hmm. Right? Like
right.
I have teenagers that I interact with regularly who work 30 hours a week in addition to going to school full time. Mm-hmm. I have teenagers who I interact with who have children. I have teenagers that I interact with who are like these kids have real stress put on them. And the adults that I talk to, well, not the adults that I talk to, because I talk to my friends and all my friends are awesome people who understand shit. But the adults who say shit like that, who say, if a teenager shows up on my doorstep, I'm not going to give him any candy. They want to take away... They want these teenagers to be like adults, except without all the fun parts of being an adult, right? They want to say, well, you can't have kid fun anymore, but you can't have adult fun yet, and yet at the same time, you need to have all the responsibility of an adult.
Yeah.
Right. So it sucks. Like let them hang on to their youth, right? These kids, for all they're looking like adults almost, are still kids, and they still want to have kid fun. They're fucking kids, guys. Just let them have some fun. Christ.
Yeah.
And
calm the fuck down.
And in the country where I'm from, if they don't have fun, just trick or treating and doing other like kid stuff, they're gonna fucking egg your house and TP your house. And you got to clean that shit up.
Yeah. Right? Just let them be kids a little while longer. Yeah. They already have so much responsibility on them. Let them enjoy the fun parts of being young for a little while longer.
Right.
Don't be a dick.
Like, yeah. Don't be a dick.
That's the moral of the story.
That's the moral to most of our shows. Don't be a dick.
Just don't be a dick, guys. Christ.
Oh my God. God damn it. I think that's it. That's my spiels on cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It
see.
looks like it's about time to go into the sex segment. What do you say?
Yeah, it is. We had another thing to talk about, but fuck
Whatever.
it. We can
talked
save
about
that for
cultural
later.
appropriation.
Yeah,
We're
we can discuss that second topic another time, or you guys can,
Yeah.
or I don't know, whoever can. Somebody can pick it up.
And
Someone will.
but guys, we're gonna have a special sex segment this time.
Yeah.
Super
So
exciting.
I guess with that, we're going to move on into the sex segment after some more music from the Flying Machine Collective.
Ooh. Whoa.
Spoooky.
Big club swinging like a bag of Vans, can a whoopus in the back of my pants. And I let the shit out when the crack was passed. Used to get caught up in love and romance. Out in no man's land, I had no damn chance. I wrote a poem, but you don't understand. So I'm back about my grown man plans. Still smoke mad plans, but I'm in my head. If you don't get it, then I don't even care. Come on, ride with me, baby, and no need to be scared. Put my stick up in the game, I'm on the medium rare. On a mission in the kitchen, cooking wishes. Give me listen, give me kisses. This is ill and it's a chemical distract. And I'm focused on the satisfaction. Tell them like, I'm minute, never chilling. Now I'm dealing with the villains. Can I play? I get a break one time. Do you feel me? Give me something to believe in.
And welcome back, everyone. Today, as you can see, normally Esmè gives the introduction to the sex segment, but today is a special version where your good old friend Keem will be giving the sex talk for today.
What? Or at least starting it off.
I just want to say, as a fan of this podcast, I am very happy to be here for this historic moment.
Some role reversal going on here, which actually brings me into the topic of today's segment, which is kind of going along with our Halloween theme. It's the topic of role play.
Woo!
Role play is something that while it doesn't happen very often, it's something I am really, really into. And like we talked about with like Halloween, role play is something like for the people who are into it. It's a way of expressing some of the things that you wanted to express, but for whatever reason felt like you couldn't in your normal sexual encounters. Gotta be a better word for that.
Yeah, probably.
Give me a bit. But yes, it's a good way to explore some things that maybe you don't feel as comfortable as in exploring just as yourself, or you just want to experience something as someone that isn't you. Mm-hmm. Or
maybe you
indulge.
Just purely want the experience of not being you mentally.
Right. You want to like separate, like you want to dissociate a bit in your sexual experiences, mm-hmm. or you want to play out some fantasy, of course, mm-hmm. that you've had.
Yeah.
And I put that one last because people often think that playing out a fantasy is the like only reason someone role plays. Mm-hmm. Like
which it might be.
For some people, but it's not the only reason to role play.
Yeah.
You know, but for other people, it could just be about like wanting to try something different, doing something they wouldn't normally do or wouldn't feel like comfortable doing, like they want to do but don't feel comfortable doing in normal sessions, or even exploring some. Like possible taboos that you wouldn't feel normal exploring in a like safe scenario.
Yeah.
And of course, with roleplay, as with anything, the first thing you do is you get consent.
Yes.
Yeah.
You fucking negotiate.
You and your partners like, yeah, you negotiate. You talk. You lay down your boundaries, whatever, and this is where the fun stuff comes in, because once you get into your role play and you get your roles and stuff, you have an entire world to explore. Like if you decide you want to be a character, get into that character. Like this is. It's your time to just be what you want, right? So like get into the character, like have your experience be like everything you want your experience to be. Have fun with it, whatever you decide to do. I'll just So, for example, with a partner I had a few years back, I wanted to do, for whatever reason, because I like role play. I like being the characters, and I commit. But we decided to do this like drill sergeant type scenario, and we actually did it two ways. The first time we did it, I was like the drill sergeant, and she was like a private. And of course, we did like committing to the role. She has to do what I say, blah, blah, blah. And super hot. Super hot. But the second time we did it, we reversed roles. Now, in most cases, I generally take a more, dominant role. You can ask Esmè definitely.
Yeah. I mean,
like it's
if your partner's into it, you do.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not into it, and so you don't pull that out with me very much. But you certainly are not submissive.
we kind of share.
You and I are kind of on the same level, right? Like we don't have any really pronounced like DS anything in our relationship because neither of us wants to be submissive.
Right.
Neither of us is into it, and so we don't.
And that brings up a good point in what I'm about to say. So, in the scenario that I was explaining, like we switched roles where she gave the orders. She was the drill sergeant, and of course, me being the lowly private in character was just completely submissive, and that was also very hot, like an awesome experience. So for me, role play, like I said, I love getting into characters. I love like experiencing new things through the lens of a character or a scenario. But it also allows me to play with roles that I wouldn't be comfortable with otherwise.
Good to know.
Yeah. But it's because, of course, in the role play, I am in that character, I am in that role, and I am, committed to that role. And the actual playing of the role attributes to the sexual experience as much as the actual sex, if not more.
Contributes, by the way.
That's what I said.
No.
What did I say?
You said attributes.
Okay, contributes. Now take contributes and put it back in there where attributes was.
I was going to say.
I apologize, guys.
Everybody fucks up sometimes. It's okay.
But contributes to the actual experience even as much, if not more, than the actual sex itself. And like I said, it can be very freeing. And so, anybody else want to jump in on this?
If you, so I have a contrasting opinion, right? Like I'm not here to shit on fucking role playing. I know a lot of people really, really enjoy it, and it can be an extremely powerful, extremely erotic experience for a lot of people. But I don't do it, and I don't enjoy it because I find it really distracting to me, right? To where trying to maintain a character throughout an interaction is really, I find it more distracting than it is hot.
Right.
And I think part of it was like, so we were when we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do with this episode, one thing that we had talked about was to do like a character episode. And I don't act really. And I don't think that I could maintain a character for that long. And I find it really difficult to do that kind of thing. And so the amount of effort that it takes for me to maintain a specific character for any length of time takes me away from the actual experience of whatever it is that I'm doing. Right? Like I'm not opposed to like playing with different like roles. I mean, or with different elements, right? Like with dominant or submissive or whatever. But I don't want to be trying to maintain a specific character during that.
Right.
So, right, like if we wanted to do role play, like with you in a submissive position, like I'm a pretty dominant person. And so like I could get into that, but it would be really, really hard if the only way that you could get into that is if we were both trying to maintain a specific role. That would be really hard for me to pull off.
And
just speaking really honestly.
Like that is a perfectly like that's perfectly fine. Like
yeah.
I understand how that could be distracting for like, especially like I know you and for someone who like gets distracted easily
mm-hmm.
or needs to be in that like in their headspace, moving yourself to some like another like a different POV, a different headspace can be an experience that's not good, distracting, not good.
Yeah,
so
that actually hits it really close to what it is, right? Which is that very like all of my most intense experiences for me very much are focused in me being completely present in the experience of whatever it is that I'm doing and trying to create an external, like a character who's different from just myself, like takes me out of my own head. And while that's beneficial for some people, for me, it's more distracting than anything else, right? Mm-hmm. I need to be, in order to have the most powerful experience that I can have, I need to be fully present in the moment as myself.
Can I tell you something very interesting?
Yes.
Yeah,
we were all going to say no.
That seems like the whole point of like this whole show.
Yeah. Okay.
Say interesting things.
All right, you got me. For someone like myself who has anxiety pretty badly, like I freely admit that my anxiety and from time to time depression can get pretty severe. In regular life, you're constantly worried about things. And sometimes that can make sexual experiences difficult. Because even when you're in the moment with that person, you still have all these scenarios running in your mind. Your same scenarios that are like worrying you normally are still playing in your head, which sometimes can make things difficult. And role playing can be a way to release those worries, those anxieties, because you can take yourself out of your own headspace where all these worries, all these anxieties are, and put yourself in the shoes of someone else who doesn't have this, like doesn't have these hangups, doesn't have these problems, which can be very, very free.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. I have had issues with not like erectile dysfunction where I can't get an erection or something, but I have had many issues with not being able to orgasm.
Yeah.
And a lot of that can come from my anxiety. Even in a situation, even in scenarios where, like releases my anxiety. In most cases, like it allows me to finally settle down. But in a lot of scenarios during the act, I still have those anxieties, and it does make orgasming very difficult.
Yeah.
Especially the first time. Like the first time I have sex with someone, in most cases, I don't orgasm. I just can't get past it. Like I can't get past the anxieties of this is the first time. So
I'm biting my tongue.
What? You're biting your tongue.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Should I say it?
I'll just put it like this. The last two people that the first time we had sex, I orgasmed with, I have been dating one for a year and the other for 2 years. So
nearly.
I need to high five somebody the next time I see her.
Clap.
Well done, us. Yay, us. We're great.
Yep.
But the point is, role playing can get you out of the space of those anxieties, and for some people allow them to release, which can be difficult to do.
Yeah.
I also want to say, for some people, there are some people who are into the I don't want to. I mean, while there are some people into incest role play, it's not my thing, but it's role play if it's consensual, agreed upon, within your boundaries. You do you.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. Here's one of the things with roleplay and with kink, right? Is that there are multiple levels to some of these desires, and roleplay allows for a way to work through some of these things that would be illegal and unethical and immoral to actually enact in real life. But role play with a consenting partner allows an opportunity to work through some of that stuff in a way that is not harming anyone.
Right.
So don't fucking kink shame, guys.
Yeah, don't kink shame.
Don't kink shame. Don't kink shame. As long as every partner who is actually engaged in the act is a consenting adult and is aware of the risks and is aware of what's going on, right? And is fully informed about what's going on in the scene, right? There's no reason for that not to be a thing.
And when discussing it with your partner, if you're discussing role play and communicating about it, if your partner comes up with something that's taboo, of course, I mean, you have the right to say yes or no, obviously.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But when they come to you with that in regards to your role play, listen to them. Listen to them. Like I said, you definitely have the right to consent or not consent. Mm-hmm. But listen to what they have to say. Listen to what there's what they have in their head.
Wait, I have a script for you. Are you ready for this?
Go for it.
Anytime your partner comes to you with something, especially if they are nervous or embarrassed about telling you, which a lot of people have a hard time talking about some of the things that they're into that are more taboo because they're so looked down on, right, in society, right? Like, these are things that society tells us that we should be ashamed of. But if your partner trusts you enough to come to you and they present you with something that your immediate thought is, oh, hell no, don't say, oh, hell no. Say, tell me more about why you want to do that thing. Mm-hmm. Right? Tell me more about why you want that. Tell me more about what about that appeals to you.
Right.
Before you, because that begins the process of negotiation where they are presenting you with a thing. And even if you're not into that thing, by asking them to tell you what about it appeals to them, now you're opening up the opportunity for you to find common ground between your boundaries and their desires, to find a way to find something that you can both do together that will fulfill something that they're looking for.
Right.
That will still not push you beyond the boundaries that you are willing to cross. Right.
Very true.
So say it with me, folks. Tell me more about that. Right? Tell me more about it.
Tell me more. Tell me more. Sorry.
Oh, Lord.
That's another role play you can do. If you want to do Grease?
Tell me more about what appeals.
Tell me more about what appeals to you in that scenario.
In that scenario, Keem, please.
And later on, we're going to Walla Walla Bing Bang.
Much later. I don't see you for another 2 weeks.
God.
Man.
Which this brings me to my final point. Now that we discussed all the seriousness of role playing, it's Halloween, guys.
It's Halloween.
That means we got costumes for days. All right.
We do?
This is prime role play time, guys. Yep. If you're in the role play, this is prime role play time.
Yep.
Go to the Halloween store.
I'm saying Halloween stores are like Halloween night and the day after, because Halloween stores will be still open the day after because they want to sell the last of their stuff.
Yep.
Go hit a sale up. Go get costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Like all your role play needs to all your different roles, whatever you want to do. There's going to be costumes, just cheap costumes galore.
Yeah.
And you can go pick from whatever you want. And so when you are coming up with your role play scenarios and what you want to do, it's gonna be easy and a lot of fun. Honestly, so this year for Halloween, I'm going as the Batman villain Black Mask.
Because of course you are.
Because I'm a nerd.
Because you're a huge nerd.
Obviously.
You're a huge nerd.
Not even gonna lie, like I have a whole scenario in my head with someone who's dressed as maybe like Catwoman or Harley Quinn, where we come to a negotiation or something, and like are trying to negotiate the team up to kill Batman, and we have sex as part of the negotiation, like in character, like that scenario's in my head, like that sounds awesome, and honestly,
and see that sounds like stressfully complex to me.
I know.
I'm like, why do you need to go through all those extra hoops? But at the same time, have fun with it. You do you, man.
See, I'll let you know. This is something you probably don't know. Every Halloween costume I have, in the past couple of years since I've been sexually active, even before, every Halloween costume, in my mind, comes with a role play scenario where it can be used.
Even now, last year's.
Even last year's, though last year's is kind of weird.
Fuck, of course it's kind of weird.
Oh, I'm really curious now, but we can maybe talk about that.
I'll let you know. Like I said, this can stay in the show. It can stay out of the show. Doesn't matter. But so last year I went as Freddy Fazbear, and for those of you who don't know who Freddy Fazbear is a character from a game called Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh God, right.
And Freddy Fazbear is a horrifying animatronic.
Mm-hmm.
So last year I had a Freddy Fazbear mask and whole outfit, whole costume
It was the whole costume.
And everything. Horrifying.
It was freaky. You can look it up on
horrifying.
Facebook. Y'all can look it up on Facebook. If you follow Keem on Facebook, there are pictures.
It is creepy as hell. But in my mind, because I like roleplay, there is a scenario. There is a sexual scenario that I came up with.
Ugh.
It's horrifying and creepy.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm
there.
gonna opt out of that one. Thanks, though.
And honestly, so all right. This is gonna be fun.
I don't want to know what it is.
Oh, you gotta know. So in the game Five Nights at Freddy's, you play a security guard being basically hunted down and whatever.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it would be similar to that. My partner would be in a security guard outfit, and we'd go into like a dark room or something with like some kind of like flashlight, and I'd basically like creepily like stalk to like,
Yeah.
and like every time you turn the flashlight back on, I'd freeze up and whatever. But like until it got close, and instead of like, of course, murder, no, sex. Like,
So basically, just playing real life Five Nights at Freddy's, but
just
with
real
sex instead of murder.
But with sex instead of murder, yeah.
That sounds entertaining.
That sounds terrifying
weird.
and also
It's
way
just
too
weird.
much work.
It's weird. It's weird. But the point of it, like the point of it for me, is not that it's weird, but it's that I'm in a completely different role. I'm doing something that's not me.
Yeah.
And that works for me.
Yeah. You do you.
I mean, like I said, I got things for everything. I went as a plague doctor one year,
Ooh.
which that one almost did lead to some sex.
Yeah, I can imagine some like scenarios for that one.
Yeah, I mean, people really dig the masquerade look, you know.
There was a plague doctor at the party last night.
I would like to do a plague doctor at one point. That would be fun.
Yep.
Of course, all this makeup I've been experimenting with would get used in that case.
If you even want to know more, I have wigs and masks. Like I have things for role play.
Excellent.
That I just get, and I like going out and buying like masks and wigs and stuff.
Nice.
So
if you can afford that and like
Right.
it makes you happy, then like I see no problem. This sounds like some awesome shit. Honestly,
it also makes it great because also, like I said, I'm a nerd. I like to cosplay too, and being able to use my cosplay things more than just conventions and Halloween, fucking awesome.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of like imagining how one would go about putting together a sexy plague doctor costume, because now that's in my head with the thought of like doing a plague doctor costume, but trying to like make it not exactly the same plague doctor people have seen many times now.
It stimulates the creative side of it stimulates the creative portion of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
and the sexual portion.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, so many things, like so many options, like so many things I could do and become.
Yeah.
I'm very excited right now. Not like I have an erection excited, but like excited.
He also didn't say he didn't have an erection.
That's true. I'm not. That's a mystery, guys.
Puzzle it out for yourself at home, kids.
Don't be weird.
Not
I don't want to
kids.
hear about your erection right now.
Yeah, please. I don't have an erection.
Okay.
I just ruined the mystery. I don't have an erection.
I was just running with a joke, or running with the possible fun of questioning.
Right. But yeah, that's my thing on that's my talk on role play. Also, if anybody's into some like hot geeky cosplay sex, yeah, if you want to let me know, I would love to hear your stories, honestly.
And now we're into the personal section of our podcast.
I will say one time have I ever done any sort of actual role play during sex and pulled it off in a way that was hot for me and for my partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I was role playing as Desire from the Sandman comics. And it super duper worked. It was awesome. Loved it. Shit, I should do that again. Shit, that's what I should have done for Halloween this year. God damn it.
Ooh.
Yeah?
I've told you about this before.
Yeah.
I told you about this before. There are two characters that you would be awesome for.
Yeah.
That I would love to see. One is Tracer from Overwatch.
I have no idea who that is.
You're less British, of course. and I know. But Tracer's a lesbian. So if I were to dress up as Mercy, like, because I could dress up as Mercy, but like a black Mercy, but even because Mercy's a woman, it'd still be canon.
Okay.
But also, I told you before, you can pull off an amazing Clark Kent.
Oh, yeah. I think I have all the stuff for that, too.
That would be awesome. That would be all non-sexual role play involved, but like sexual role play involved, it could be like Kent ripped his like shirt off and the super thing, just like.
Good to know. All right.
It could be super interesting.
All right.
Like a black ass Lois Lane. Lois Lane.
All right, Keem. Let's wrap this up. We're sitting at 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got too excited. But
you always get too excited.
guys, I hope you enjoyed. Wait. Say that. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. That brings us to the end. Special thanks to Flying Machine Collective for providing us music this week. Go check out their EP. We plug it again. We love those guys. But yes, special thanks to Ari. He'll be on the show many, many times in the near future.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Guys, remember, this Halloween, candy not culture. Don't appropriate.
Yeah. The more you know.
This has been a message from the Outer Voices podcast. Oh, one more thing I did want to say for black people this Halloween. If you see a white person dressed in blackface, if you want to respond, what you do is get a cop costume and go beat the hell out of them.
No.
character.
Because the actual cops will beat the hell out of a black person who does that. So, white people.
See, well, you gotta
White
remember.
people.
Look, you got to remember, cops work on pack rules. They're thinking one of their own. You blend right in.
I didn't think pigs had packs.
Oh, snap.
Terrible. Terrible.
I didn't think that was how they associated with one another.
I think that's a good place to end the show.
Shit.
All right.
Guys, as always, this has been Keem, Esmè,
Woo!
and Ari.
Yeah.
Yay!
And from the Outer Voices podcast to you, have a happy and safe Halloween. And we are out.
But there are these things that matter, and they really fucking matter. There's like 4 things that matter, and they really fucking matter. I mean, objectively, I mean, you should care, especially you, if you thought about it for 5 fucking minutes.